Hello everyone again. Now let's look at second part of this presentation. So in this part, we are going to talk about planning a website. So before we actually develop a website, we need to know a purpose of our website. The purpose of a commercial business website is basically related to the goals of selling those products or services. Then we need to also know about the target audience. Who will be the people who are using the website? Knowing their general demographic background will help us design a website that's appropriate for them. So if you are designing a website maybe for adults over 65 years old, it could be help us if we know more about that. Or if you are selling a product for maybe babies, maybe the target audience would be the parents. Also, we need to design a website that works on multi-platform. So a responsive design of a website must be created that can provide an optimal viewing experience across ranges of our devices. Doesn't matter if it's an iPad, if it's an iPhone, if it's a Samsung phone, doesn't matter the size of it. So a responsive design would work on all of them. Wireframe is basically a simple visual guide that clearly identifies the location of main web page elements. In there, we could have some sort of an active white space, which is an area on the page that's intentionally left blank, and also passive white space that we need to have that for us to help the user focus on one part of the page. So let's look at the wireframe. So the wireframe could include the logo, navigation, the text areas, the footer, and all that. So this is a wireframe. And normally in part of logo, you can put an appealing graphic here. In navigation, you can put buttons maybe or links or something. Also remember about the passive white space. You might want to have a banner. You might want to have images here, and also a lot of designs, they have a footer. So maybe they put the legal stuff in there, and then the content details, the footer. Sitemap is also necessary for a website. It's a planning tool that lists or displays all the pages on a website, and it indicates how they relate to each other. We have few types of structure. One of them is linear structure, which connect web pages in a straight line. So all of these pages, this is a home page, so they're all connecting through the straight line. Then we have another version of the linear website, which include a link to a home page. So from all of these, you will have a link to a home page. And then we have a hierarchical web page, which connect web pages in tree-like. So this is a hierarchical structure. And also we have a web-based website, which has no set organization. So there is no place to start. So basically, if you don't want your user to start from a specific place, maybe you can use the web structure. So they can actually go from any page to any page has a link to it. Graphics, they add visual appeal to a web page, and they can enhance the visitor's perception about the products and services. So you might want to use those graphics that are appealing, and also you have to make sure that you look at the copyrighted stuff for it. Navigation of a website, it should be very clear and concise. You don't want to have a very messy website that is very hard to navigate. You want it to be very simple, and you want to make sure that it's easy to use, like it's a easy to use or friendly website, that you have a navigation system that's easily being used. Typographic, the use of effective typographic or fonts and font style also help the visual appearance of your website. Typography also can promote the purpose and goals of your website. Color also have a meaning. So the combination of color contributes to the appeal and the legibility of your website. So for example, if you use color red, the common meaning is about love, romance, anger. If you use color blue, it's about trust, loyalty, integrity, honesty. If you use color Orange is about energy, warmth, and health. So colors, they can each convey some meaning. Accessibility, when you are designing your web pages, you are actually designing it for a diverse group of audience. So you are including also physical impairments and global users as well. So there is a website that's called World Wide Web Consortium, W3C, which develops and maintains the web standard, language specification, and also accessibility. You can go to that website and find more information about how to make your website appealing to more diverse group of audience, such as physical impairments and also global users. So before you want to plan, you need to create also a checklist that looks at navigation, typography, color, accessibility of your website. Also, for a more sophisticated website, you need additional design consideration. You need to research the business, you need to research its competitor, and you need to have a complete business analysis. So this is an example of a checklist for planning a website. Maybe based on the topics, you can come up with certain questions, like you need to know what's the purpose of your website, what's your target audience, multi-platform display, sitemap, wireframe. So for your project, you are actually going to use this checklist when you are going through your group project to be able to come up with your website. So now let's look at some of the basic of HTML. Web pages, they are being created using hypertext markup language, or we call it HTML. So that's how HTML, the name comes up for, which is an authoring language used to create document for the web. HTML consists of a set of special instructions called tags. And those tags, they can define the structure and layout of the content of the web page. HTML tags define markup, the content on the web page, due to which is considered a markup language rather than the traditional programming languages. So in HTML, we have an open tag and also close tag for a lot of things. A web page is a text file that contains both the content and the HTML tag, and it's being saved in an HTML document. HTML document consists of everything from the start tag to the end tag. HTML element can be enhanced by using various attributes, which can define the characteristic or properties of that element. So let's look at the example here. In here, we are starting with the HTML tag. We put the lang as the language. We set the language and we put it as English. All of these are the tags. Header tag, title tag. So the title tag starts here, and also you need to end your tag. So you see your HTML opens here, your HTML needs to end here. And then between that you can put the content of your stuff that you need to put. So HTML contains tags and descriptive attributes that can define how a document should appear in a web browser. So HTML includes headings, paragraphs, hyperlinks, lists, images, and so HTML have a start tag and an end tag, and you need to follow this rule. This rule is like a syntax. So every language has a syntax. HTML has its own syntax as well. HTML elements, they are called pair tags and use the syntax. So we have the start tag, we have the content, and the end tag. So HTML begins with a start tag, like for example the title, that's opening tag, and then we close that, and in between we can put the content in between the start and the end tag. Some HTML elements, they are void of contents. They are called empty or maybe void tags. Empty tags, you can put, one of them is BR for a link break or HR for horizontal line. The syntax for empty tag is tag, basically, as the empty tag. So in this example here, you can see that you start with your HTML and you put your language and all that, and then make sure that you are closing your HTML tag. These are the syntax. Sometimes maybe in some authoring tool you use it and you might not close it and it still works. But remember that in general, HTML you have to open a tag and a close tag somewhere. So in here we are using a paragraph tag. So a start paragraph tag, the end paragraph tag, and then the content is between all of that. Also, we are using BR as a line break tag in here. We are using HR as a horizontal rule tag, and there are a lot more tags that you can understand. Actually, I'm going to create a cheat sheet and I'm going to put it here on your courses so that you can have basic tags for you and you can always look at it as it's a cheat sheet. So in here, again, this is what the result would look like. So these are your first paragraph, second paragraph, we put a line break, and then we put a horizontal line here, and this is our fourth paragraph. So this is what the output is looking like. In the next segment, we are going to talk about technologies that are related to the HTML.